So I tried out Total War mod and actually it's really good. It was a lot of fun. Yes, you can guess I'm a bit surprised because at first I thought that it's one of those mods which change everything for sake of changing everything. To be fair, it's actually kind of true, but with these changes there's a lot of new options. Like for an example, game is way more dynamic. Best example would be War in the East. First, Germans start with a bonus, then winter comes, and the Russians get a bonus. Then summer comes, and yeah, you know the drill. Like this, it's not just one-way street when one side pushes and decides war in 1 year, but you can actually have way longer war and give time for the allies to actually do more operations than just mere D-Day. It's also good from historical perspective. For example, each nation has its own tank tree, which means that, for example, Russians can get a KV-1 heavy tank in 1940, but it has very different stats. It's way worse than the Tiger tank, which Germans can get in 1942. Also, the bonuses for Russian tanks are a bit lower in the focuses, which means that it's very unlikely that Germany will run over France with Tiger tanks in 1939 and then stick to this kind of heavy tank equipment and battalion, simply because you won't be able to get it in time, and in this way game forces you to play with all kinds of equipment and not just rely on one type of tank and stick to it the entire game. The only problem with this concept is that basically cost of producing every single kind of equipment has been reworked, stats of every single battalion has been changed, and yeah, there are also a lot of new battalions like light infantry, garrisons, militias, each having different stats, costing different equipment. A lot of this equipment is not even in the vanilla, like uniforms, radios, etc, etc. It's actually the same with doctrines, and don't get me started about tanks and artillery. On the other hand, some of these things actually make infantry more viable because, for example, heavy anti-tank guns make it way easier to pierce and deal more hard attack to tanks. So yeah, you can actually make a good infantry, and the game is not just about tanks. There is way more to it, I'm just giving examples right now. Side effect of this is that no matter how many hours you've got in the game, when you install the mod, it's as if you just bought it and first time joined the multiplayer. This mod makes the game absolutely different. That's also a reason why I picked a tiny Finland. Without further ado, this is how it went.
Welcome to
Yeah.
Axis.
Okay, Finland, go
Yes.
ahead and tell me when you're ready.
Hold on, I don't hear you.
Tell him when you're ready. So join Alliance, I think, and say you are ready, and then come back whenever you are ready.
Have you never even...
Look for
You can start, I don't know what I'm doing anyway.
Okay.
How do I get like uniform factories and this kind of stuff?
Uniform factories?
researched them?
Yeah, just research them.
Where do I find that?
In the industry tab.
You
In the
in
middle.
research, like we researched guns and stuff.
Like in
industry
infantry
tab?
then?
No, the infantry tab.
Okay, infantry.
And basic industry, you see it? Like on top, one of the top ones. And you have like a wide selection of them. You have uniform factories, small arms factories, artillery factories, automotive tank factories. You research them, then you have to advance down, you have to research the other ones. But if you want to research them, I think you have to research your basic...
There is, in infantry tab, there is nothing.
Industry tab.
Industry tab.
Industry tab.
Okay, tools, defenses, civilian, steel industry, synthetic oil.
Industry, in the middle.
In the middle.
There's
I see, now I see. Thank you.
There you go.
These two clips perfectly sum up the build phase. I spent most of the time just clicking on beautiful pictures, oblivious to all the options I had. That's also a reason why we'll go straight into the action. Beforehand, I want to show you my template. If you wonder why it's just 30 width, well, mod doesn't allow you to make 40 width divisions. I guess it makes some sense. There has never been a tank division with 700 tanks in it. I wanted to make something which would excel in infantry battles in the forest. That's why I didn't use any heavy equipment. This fact will eventually come back to bite me in the ass. And lack of anti-air has more to do with Goering's promise that no enemy aircraft would ever make it into Finnish airspace. The war kicked off with Soviets abandoning most of the front line, which came to me a bit as a surprise. Why would anyone do it? After a moment, I found out. Once Finland advances beyond its former pre-Winter War borders, you immediately get debuffs calling for peace and population wanting to bring their troops back home. To reverse it, you need to proclaim Greater Finland, start selling conquered land to boost enthusiasm. All of it via focuses, which takes several months to get rid of a debuff. As I said previously, it's all about just to make game more dynamic. However, Soviets of course didn't just give me all the territory needed for Greater Finland. On the contrary, once I got the debuff, they immediately started attacking again.
So if I build every like before, give me intro those these agents right here. These agents. Oh no. Click here, okay, here.
Yeah, it's like so bad.
I'll remove my ass from your let's see something.
Yeah.
Oh. Right here, intro those agents.
Yeah, fucking July so bad. Let's finish these things. Just try to finish them.
Luckily, Germans were still giving them hard time, and because Soviets needed tanks desperately in the south and couldn't achieve a quick, decisive victory in the north, they, after a few attempts, had to recall them back down south, which gave me some breathing space so I could build airfields on occupied territories. With Soviet tanks gone and German air support arriving, it was my turn to contribute to Axis war effort.
They're trying to push to Minsk again.
Now comes a crucial moment. As you could see, I was always looking for Russian tanks where they are coming to contain the breakthrough. I am perfectly capable of defending against them if Russian tanks are attacking into prepared positions, entrenched, fully organized infantry in forest behind a river. But what happens if a Russian armored corps comes when my army is disorganized, low on numbers and on planes? In the moment I saw Russian tanks moving north, I immediately started pulling back, hoping that I could retreat behind the defensive line before the tanks joined the battle.
Russians have almost all of their tanks in Finland, by the way.
That's nice.
That's
Like
not
80%.
nice, what are you talking about?
It's nice for us.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
bringing to an end the Soviet Empire and its 70-year experiment in communism. Yet while
Continuing strife
jubilation
in outlying regions, along with widespread corruption and economic misery, resulting in a virtual tidal wave of crime.
The Russian mafias has evolved into a world-class organized crime network with profits in billions, including substantial U.S. operations.
announcing the unprecedented opening of an FBI legal along with the first ever joint US and Russian law enforcement operation.
Yes, I know. I made many mistakes, and yes, by this time I was already dead. Russians could push every single tile and there was nothing I could do to stop them. After loss of Viipuri and Onets, there was just one major airfield left. At this point I was just taking one for the team and hoping that I could stall Soviets long enough so Germans can pull off Steiner attack in the south, although I knew that it's rather naive because Germans could not spare a single heavy tank battalion or anything else that could counter a horde of T-34s.
Soviets are yeah, they're slowly pushing us back.
They're quickly throwing us back. Oh boy, I'm out. I capitulated.
Oh.
That was fun.
No.
Yeah, even though we're not winning, like it's
I mean,
still fun
at least I killed 500,000 Russians. That's basically it. I was first in the domino and the rest of the Axis followed soon afterwards. Let me know what you think about the mod. If you enjoyed the video, share it around and I'll see you next time.